What's up, guys? 5280 Sports guys here for an MMA Minute. I was gonna get to you guys earlier, but I wanted to make sure everything went through with UFC 229, Conor McGregor versus Khabib. So now that the weigh-ins are done, Khabib made weight. Conor made it through the stare down, and we're couple hours away. I mean, we're about an hour away from prelims starting, so right now it's good to go. So yeah, I'm gonna get this uploaded quick, by the way. So I went through Khabib last week. Now I'm gonna go through Conor. I did actually have a little bit of some proper 12, which is pretty good. I'm not Irish whiskey, so I'm not comparing it to any other Irish whiskeys. I'm pretty sure there's a lot better ones out there. But if his whole goal is to go after Jameson, then to me it's better than Jameson. Anyways, moving forward from that, now we're going into Conor McGregor and the key points that I think are big for the fight, which a lot of people have probably covered. When I spoke about Khabib, there's a lot of things that has to go with him as far as like his grappling goes and stuff, but he's still a one-sided fighter. With Conor, he's a striker. That's what he is. He doesn't do a lot of takedowns. Since I've watched him, I don't think I've ever seen him do a takedown. Maybe in the Nate Diaz fight, but for the most part, he's a striker. So you could classify him as a one-sided fighter, but with him, he's got a lot of different angles when it comes to his striking and stuff, and his footwork is very well. His timing is good. At the same time, he shows just kind of finesse with the way that, I don't know, just the way that he moves and throws his punches and stuff like that. And it seems like he just calculates every strike that is thrown. Given that, he is a counter striker, so when it comes to striking, he is, looking to gain some sort of momentum with the person he's facing. When it comes to Khabib, I don't see Khabib throwing that much aggression. But again, I could be wrong because Khabib has been an aggressor when it comes to grappling. So if he does take that approach, then it will give Conor the opportunities to throw his hands and land some shots. With Conor's flaws, it's his pretty much, if he gets taken down and then submission comes in, he doesn't show the ability to defend submissions. Now, his takedown defense is really good. I think he's only been taken down 5 times from what I've gathered. I think he's only been taken down 5 times since being in the UFC, possibly 5 times since being an MMA fighter. That is not a lot. There's been a lot of people that I've seen try to take him down. Again, like Chad Mendes did take him down, and he was able to get right back up. With Nate Diaz took him down and then went immediately into kind of a submission. So he kind of quickly just, went from one thing to the next. It was very quick movement, so he wasn't necessarily able to get on the defensive end of that. With Khabib, there's a possibility that Khabib could toss him around like Daniel Cormier does with some of the fighters. But again, the difference in that is that he has to go through. He's gonna have to take. Khabib's gonna have to take shots to get a takedown attempt on him. Then from there it goes. Can Conor stuff those takedowns? How's that gonna play out? I think it's highly possible that Conor can stuff some of the takedowns. I don't think he'll stuff all the takedowns. I also don't think that Khabib is going to want to end this fight early. So I think he's going to actually take this to the distance as much as possible, unless Herb Dean steps in, which is a high possibility. Herb Dean is reffing the fight. That's one of the flaws as far as this fight goes. I'm not a huge fan of Herb Dean, not because of his philosophy, but the actions that he takes. So he may say, oh, I'm here to protect the fighters and stuff like that, but he's not consistent on how he protects those fighters. So he can sit there and let Junior Dos Santos sit there and take a beating from Cain Velasquez, showing that he's punch drunk and all that stuff, and Herb Dean doesn't step in. Yet you could sit there and see, you know, somebody protecting themselves, blocking shots and stuff like that, still looking good, throwing a thumb up and stuff like that. Herb Dean comes in and calls it quits right away. So with that, he's inconsistent as far as what he talks about when he's protecting fighters. Again, if he wants to call every fight short, I don't care. He can call every fight short. That's not what I'm upset about. But I'm upset about his consistency. So with that being said, Herb Dean plays a big factor in the way this fight's going to play out. If Herb Dean feels either fighter, again, is taking, I guess, too many shots, I don't know what Herb Dean's knowledge is in that, then it could be called early. But then there's the other hand to where Herb Dean could also not really step in, and you've got somebody getting pummeled or destroyed and taking way too many shots, and it could go let's just play a scenario. Conor McGregor is getting mauled, and Herb Dean's just letting it go on. Well, if he lets that happen, Conor McGregor gets a second wind, and then all of a sudden Khabib's in trouble. So, just playing stuff like that. But again, kind of going through because this is going to take a minute. So, the tell of the tape overall, we got both fighters at 30. You've got the champion Khabib at 5'10" with Conor at 5'9", but Conor actually has a 4-inch reach on Khabib, and Khabib's actually got he's got the better record, obviously.
Obviously.
He shows more submissions than Conor, but Conor definitely takes the KOs with 18, and actually Khabib does have 8 KOs. Let's see here. They're both fighting at 155, which is good. So now getting into, I talked about the flaws of Conor, that he doesn't have any submission defense. Takedown defense he does. Submission defense he doesn't. So if Khabib goes for submission, we might be seeing a different game plan. But I don't see Khabib doing that because I think he wants to teach Conor. He wants to show the UFC that, he's the real deal, basically. So now going into I guess my prediction, and again, I kind of threw a little bit of some of the worries that I have with Herb Dean being a ref. I'm predicting that Conor McGregor probably ends this early with a KO. Now, that's my prediction. If he doesn't get the KO probably in the second round, I think the third, fourth, and fifth are going to play key roles into both fighters. Because, again, with that, I don't know how many of you watched the fight that Khabib did to win the championship, but there's a lot of holes in his game. And even though he's sitting there saying that Conor McGregor doesn't have the cardio to go 5 rounds, to me, Khabib doesn't have the cardio to go 5 rounds either. And with the takedown defense that Conor could put out, that's gonna tire Khabib if that possibility strikes. So going into the third, fourth, and fifth that's gonna play a key role for both fighters, and where their cardio stands. Because to me, grappling takes a lot more energy than striking. Now, that goes both sides though. So even though you got Khabib going for the takedowns, Conor doing takedown defenses on that, even getting taken down, both are going to play energy factors in both fighters. Takedowns for Khabib are going to be a less energy factor than it being on Conor. But with takedown defense and how long he's going to be using the muscle to try and wrestle him down, it's going to take a lot of energy on Khabib as well. So the first 2 rounds are going to be huge as far as, even for Khabib, it's going to be huge because if he can immediately get a takedown on Conor, then that's going to play a huge role because it's going to show that Conor's takedown defense is not going to be a strong point for the fight. But again, I'm taking Conor that he's going to get a KO or TKO in the first 2 rounds.
First 2?
Yeah.
Pay money for that?
And
Shit better at least go 4.
This guy. We are going to be actually live streaming at 5280 Sports Guys. Going to be live streaming the fights, but it's not going. We will not be showing the fights. We're actually going to be doing our commentary on it. So if you want to join in, obviously you have the option to do that. Anyways, kind of going through some of this stuff. One of the things that I wanted to bring out, that the reason I think Conor's going to take this, is the experience that he has. I'm not saying that Khabib doesn't have the experience. Khabib has fought tons of fights, so he has gained experience. But he's only fought a couple of guys in the top 10, top 15. Conor, even though he's jumped his way through the ranks, he has still fought contenders. And even doing title defenses, he still defended his title against contenders. Even so, you can say that, oh, well, he didn't go the proper way of getting the belt, but he still did the proper way of defending his belt. With the Nate Diaz and all that stuff, the way that whole thing played out, that's kind of, obviously Conor's got a little bit of leverage when it comes to stuff, but he jumped from 145 to a 175 fight to do that. So it still was a challenge. So even though people are saying he jumped and did things kind of not the norm as fighters would do, like I think Khabib for the most part did things kind of the way that fighters should do it. But his career kind of is, the way he got the belt is kind of strange. Like, it's just that, he did the things that he needed to do, but at the same time he didn't really fight, he wasn't fighting Tony Ferguson. He wasn't fighting a top 5 fighter. So the way he got the belt is kind of, I don't know. I still think he's champion. Is he a championship fighter? I don't know. That still plays, that's still up for debate to me. But I do think that he's an excellent fighter. I think that he is the champion. Him beating Conor McGregor is going to solidify him as the champion and being one of the greatest fighters in that division. And, the doors are going to open at that point. So, with Conor, this is just kind of be another fight for him, and it's going to kind of solidify his legacy as far as, him being able to still talk the talk, I guess. Walk the walk, talk the talk, however you want to do it. Still standing up to maintain that rowdy Irish mentality that he goes with. Again, I know this was a long video. I think Conor takes it in 2. I know he's going to be bored out of his mind because it's not going to go the way he wants it to go. Hey, who are you taking anyways?
I get all Conor all day.
Alright.
I'm hoping 4 though. 4 rounds.
4.
Let's make this a good fight.
But yeah, with that, I think that's what sums it up. This is going to be a really good fight. I think it's going to kind of play a chess match in a sense. Here's the thing. I think that this fight, if it goes past the first round, it's going to be the way the Jose Aldo fight should have been. Because I think the Jose Aldo fight was almost going to be kind of a chess match. I think Jose Aldo was going to be aggressive, stuff like that. This is the way it played out in my head. Obviously, things didn't turn out that way. That's why this is the sport of fighting, and it gets crazy all the time. So, with that being said, I look forward to watching the fights. Hopefully you guys tune in, watch our reaction, and yeah, man, till then, see you in a couple hours. And yeah, so that's it for us. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, obviously, and See you on the next video. Peace!
What are you doing?
I just pushed the button.
Yeah.